Hi guys, how are you?
Good,
Hey, how
how
you
are
doing?
you?
Doing great. So to start, and we can start with Amber and Michael and go to Jane. With a show like this, I think it's so cool to have, a female character at the center of it because that doesn't really exist that often. And I also just think it's such an interesting concept for an animated show. What has been your favorite reaction or like moment from fans getting to finally see a show like this on Netflix?
I think well I it's twofold. I've had so many people come up to mention how seen they feel being mixed race, and not even just like Asian mixed race, but you know, all combinations of mixed race out there, and feeling like that they didn't realize that they had all of these like unresolved feelings, and like to see her up there on screen dealing with those feelings like was very cathartic for them. So that was great. And then also just people saying like, "Oh, wow, some of the sexist people out there who maybe don't normally like I don't normally like girl characters, those people, we all know who they are, saying like I actually liked this one."
Actually,
Which is the, yeah, it's the backhanded compliment, but it's also nice to be rewarded for people who don't normally root for a female lead. Like
yeah,
that's
that's when
actually,
you
yeah,
realize like Mizu was more undeniable than even we knew.
yeah.
I would say, you know what? It's this weekend getting text photos from friends at Comic-Con and
Mhm.
seeing Mizu cosplay on the Comic-Con floor.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
3 years ago, when we were seeing our first early design explorations of what Mizu might look like, and then landing it and getting the silhouette right and making the elements elegant, simple, replicable, and being like, wow, people could really you know get the right elements and you could cosplay this, and haha, wouldn't that be, wouldn't we should be so lucky, and to be here we are that many years later, and like not only cosplay but like really good cosplay, like people who
Yeah.
cared enough to like sew. you
Yeah.
know that's really touching. It's really, yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jane? What's been kind of your favorite
I, I
reaction?
have I have to say it's a cosplay, but more than that, it was the people that Amber was talking about coming up to me with tears in their eyes saying I felt seen. That was really special because we're talking about a group of people that are normally marginalized and not talked about or just not understood really. And to bring this to them and having them really connect with a character like that is just really special.
Wait, and how has it been for you guys doing this in an animated space? Because I feel like it has to be more freeing to kind of get to tell this story in the animated world versus, trying to put it up in live action right out the gate and get all the money and get all the backing and deal with all of that.
I mean, I think we were able to I, look, we always wanted this to be animation. It was never going to be anything else, but um we're an expensive animated show, but if this was live action, the amount of money it would take to just do, you can ask Shogun what they spend per episode. We'd need more than that because we've got fighting. And I'm not sure we would have gotten to explore what we wanted to. I'm not sure the show, could or should have been made live action. So it was a really lucky confluence of the medium was really just the right one, and it allowed us to tell the story we wanted to tell.
And Amber, when you're kind of, coming up with something and writing it and working on it, how does it feel like getting to see not even just the beginning things, but the whole final product out in the world? Like, how was that for you the first time you saw it completed?
I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, to be able to, we took such a personal story and wrote it. And, I've been around long enough to know you write a million things and that never see the light of day, or that briefly see the light of day and then abruptly die. And it was amazing to really see the hard work of our entire team, all of the creativity and effort and talent and hard work put in, and just see it all come together like that. And then to have people watch it and like it and respond to it. I
And
mean,
notice they
yeah,
noticed they noticed the work of
I
our
don't,
artists.
yeah.
Mm.
Detail. That was really great to see.
Well, and Jane, I always like to ask producers this 'cause I know you wore a lot of hats, but when you are producing something and you're looking at it before, you know, you're putting your money into something that you're kind of just going off of an idea, what for you was it about a Blue Eye Samurai that you were just like, yeah, no, I don't, I'm backing this no matter what?
Uh, it was really the story. It's a story that I connected with, and as I keep saying that, it used 100% of my DNA to make it. You know, you do certain movies, you go, oh, okay, I'm using like 45% of what I know how to do this, but you know, this took my culture, martial arts, filmmaking, everything, and I could do everything in one setting. That was what made me take this project and made me go, okay, here's 3 years of my life right here. And you have to love the project because animation is such a long brew. You really have to love what you're doing.
Yeah. And Michael, I think I've tweeted at you so many times at this point about Kings. But
You know what? We will take that any day,
I feel like I'm just
any
Kings
day of
or
the week.
Blade Runner 2049. I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep word vomiting things. But you do kind of tell these stories of like someone coming into their own power, whether or not they want to or not. And this is also that, but it's so much more at the same time. How was it kind of directing that versus like the stuff you've written, which has similar themes, but is male focused?
You know what? I'll say one of the biggest differences is this was an original, and I get to work on some amazing IP. I love it. I've got nothing against it. It's just much more rare to get to work on something original and, you know, something personal that came out of conversations we'd had and, you know, experience of my favorite person. And um, so the difference was that neither IP nor original are easier or harder, but you feel you'd think you'd feel more responsibility with something that costs a lot of money and they're so beloved by people, but instead it's like, oh wait, this is our game to fuck up, you know, like to get this right. So you know, to go into a story and not know how deep the pool is or where the wall is, it's funny and it's, you know, it's fun and it's thrilling, but that's the main difference. And one of the things I'm constantly grateful about this one is that everyone involved, all the people who lent their talents to the show, lending their talents to the show still, our benefactors at Netflix, like they all signed on to an original idea. And you know, not for they don't go with IP more because it's necessarily safer. It's because the audience really enjoys it more. They come for it more. They know they have a built-in audience. So there's a lot of gratitude in that people saw what we saw in it early enough to invest in it.
And for everybody, one of my favorite lines in this is literally, I feel like is a reference to the Lord of the Rings moment where it's like, I am no man. But like, I was like, oh, that's dope. It's kind of like that. But were there any things, I know it's an extremely personal story, but were there any like reference points or inspirations that you guys pulled from when you were working on this to kind of set the tone so everyone knew what you wanted the show to kind of end up being?
So many. I mean, the joke, not a joke answer that we've is like it's Kill Bill meets Yentl. But I mean, really, we did a rewatch of both of those movies before we wrote, and we did, you know, Lady Snowblood, all the we watch which Kurosawa we watch.
We watched a lot of Kurosawa. We watched the Zatoichi films, which was one of the first things we bonded with Jane about. Like we all kind of grew up watching the same movies that were not very mainstream at the time. It's great that they are. Yeah, Amber mentioned Kill Bill. Like we use a music cue that comes out of Kill Bill, and we actually worked with our Emmy nominated sound engineer Myron Natenga was worked on that film as well. So it's yeah, I think we wear our references on our sleeve and are kind of proud to tip the hat.
Yeah, and then for me, I definitely dove into the spaghetti Western at the time, to really hone in on the Western sensibility of it all, because I wanted this to be a Western Eastern or an Eastern Western.
Mm-hmm. I love that. But do you guys have, now that you can, you know, talk about it more freely because it is out and it's not like the pre-junket where you have to be like, no spoilers. Do you guys have like a favorite episode or moment that you were like, man, I wanted to really talk about this in the prep for the show, but like physically couldn't do it because of X, Y, and Z?
I kind of love
Yeah.
spoilers, so I'm always the one who's like, just tell them everything. Although we're not giving any season 2 spoilers now, so I guess I should.
I mean, I love all my kids. I love all 8 of my kids equally, you know?
It's
Um,
you know, each one is like we pulled that one off. Whew! You know,
right,
because each episode had really high ambition,
right.
and in the pre-launch junket, it, I don't know, we was more the analogy we always go was like, it's like you were building Watts Tower in your basement for so long and you just can't wait to like let people see it already. Like what have they been doing in there? I hear like hammer and nails and saws, all like it had taken so much work from so many gifted people for so long, that it's just great now we can point to it and go, ta-da.
This
We
is
did
what
it.
we've been doing in the basement.
Yeah.
When you mentioned season 2, and I know you said no spoilers, but what was it like? How did it feel for you guys when you knew, like, okay, cool, like this isn't just like a one and done story. We get to keep coming back to these characters.
That was very exciting. Because we knew people were going to be so angry at us till the end of time if we didn't tell them more. Like we set Mizu off on a boat and that's it, you know? So we hope we get to tell the fulsome tale of Mizu and the rest of the characters, their arcs, and they get their hopes and dreams or not in something that feels complete to our audience.
I just imagine now I'm like, no, the show ends and she's just like,
Later.
I on a boat.
One boat.
No one needs to know anything else. But for a last quick question, like with this show that is bloody and there are some really cool fight sequences and you get to like have all these badass moments, is there like one softer moment in this show that you were like, if we don't have this moment, the rest of it's not going to matter? Because yeah, the fight sequences are cool, but we need this softer moment.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, for me, it was when you see me in episode 5, when you see Mizu's makeup running down her, and she is sad and beautiful and also monstrous at the same time. Like that was the shot that kind of summed up Mizu, and that I think that was it for me.
I'd
Not going to top that answer.
Well, I'd love to include that it's the Akemi sex scene with Taigen in scene 2, episode 2, because it was so important for me that we saw her struggling with that, because it wasn't really about the sex, it was about her vulnerability and what her weapon was at the time, what she as a weapon. And that's the story that we're telling here, is women in what they use as a weapon, and Akemi uses her body and Mizu uses her blade.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love the show. I can't wait for season 2. And I really, really appreciate you guys talking with me today.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Really great
Thank you
talking.
guys.
Tweet anytime, but then sorry we're not on there anymore.
Can't talk about Kings anymore.
You can email me directly anytime about Kings. It's fine.
Like I am in the place Kings.
There it is. Bye.